Welcome, everyone. We give a few minutes grace. We know Bermudians don't always run exactly on time. We are expecting a few others to join, but we've got the recording on, so we'll get going because this is just an information session and we want to get everyone back to their work. So just going to pull up the slides. So we're going to be talking about just the key leadership programs that we have coming up, with some mention of a few other trainings that we think are worth considering in terms of leadership development. But we've got our two sort of key programs, our Introduction to Nonprofit Management and our Certified Nonprofit Professional Credential Program. We talked through both, even though we've just talked about this in terms of the Intro to Nonprofit Management certification, because we want to make sure people are aware of both options and that they would select the right option. Feel free to jump in and ask questions as we go along, but as you will see, it's being recorded and we'll provide the recording. I'm happy to share the slides as well. So just a little bit of background, if you're not familiar with the Nonprofit Alliance of Bermuda, we were formerly the Interagency Committee for Children and Families, and we rebranded last year as the Nonprofit Alliance. And really we exist because we believe in a strong and connected nonprofit sector and its role in building a better community and a better Bermuda. We also are aware of the challenges that nonprofits often face with being able to commit resources and time to sort of growing and developing and advancing towards maturity. Can we just get the weight room there? So we really exist to help nonprofits to transition from early stages of growth towards maturity. And this includes developing leaders as well as developing organizations and the way that they work together. We provide 4 core services: capacity building, which is our training and consulting work, supporting collaboration, coordinating access to information and resources in the sector, and then advocating for the sector and being a champion for the sector. We have a full theory of change, which I'm not going to speak through, but just to say that our leadership development programs sit within our capacity building area of work, which is all about trying to build a strong and sustainable nonprofit workforce pipeline, and offering the supports needed to be able to grow and develop leaders and organizations. The goal of our leadership development programs is to partner with accredited institutions to provide a continuum of nonprofit leadership development certifications that combine virtual, online learning, whether it's self-paced or live virtual, with local personal development sessions, again, to develop that pipeline of future leaders. We are really excited for quite a significant shift in both of our core programs this year, which we will get into with more of a focus on personal development. So we've got 2 core programs, but 2 additional certificates that we offer each year. So we have the Introduction to Nonprofit Management Certificate Program, which is a partnership program with the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, as well as EAP Bermuda. We'll talk more about what that looks like. Then we've got the Certified Nonprofit Professional Credential Program, which is a partnership program with the Nonprofit Leadership Alliance and Center Bermuda. We also have the Certificate in Nonprofit Financial Management, which is in partnership with Kellogg School of Business, Northwestern University, and a Certificate in Fundraising in partnership with Villanova University. Those last 2 certificates don't have a local component. They're just the online programs. So we'll get into more detail with the Introduction to Nonprofit Management, the certificate program that runs each year. The target audience for that is nonprofit staff with 1 to 3 years of experience. So individuals that are in earlier stages of their career within the nonprofit sector. Again, the university affiliate is the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and the local partner is EAP Bermuda. It's an introductory level program that introduces learners to key current management issues for nonprofit organizations, and we take up to 10 people per year. The eligibility criteria for that program is, again, entry-level nonprofit professionals, so with 1 to 3 years. nonprofit board members, or if there's availability in people not necessarily in the sector currently, but interested in learning more about nonprofit operations, interested in potentially coming into the field. The requirements or what the program includes, there's two components to the certificate program. The first is the self-paced online learning certificate. So this is University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee's Introduction to Nonprofit Management Certificate Program. It's 11 modules that you do online at a self-paced timeline, although we encourage the Bermuda cohort to work to the same timeline so that they are learning about the same things at the same time, but you don't have to log in and do the work at a particular time. You can do the work at your own pace. It's reading and videos and then little tests at the end of each module. That's the online learning component. Let me just see. So you'll see the curriculum on the left here. So there's the 11 modules: strategy, leadership, budgeting, financial statements, fundraising, grant writing, marketing, capital campaigns, social media, and board and volunteer development. Then we have monthly cohort sessions to bring the Bermuda cohort together. So there are 9 sessions that run April through December. They're 90-minute in-person sessions held at the Bermuda Health Council on their 2nd floor. And those have a focus on personal development, resilience building, and emotional intelligence. This is sort of mimicking more of what you would typically see in a corporate setting for leadership development programs, which are much more personal development in nature than what often our nonprofit management ones are, which are very technical in nature. So we're trying to bring back that focus on personal development. So EAP Bermuda is, if you're not familiar with them, they're a local counseling and EAP provider to companies, and Letitia Lister Burgess does a lot of training with us around personal development and resilience, and she's always a favorite. So she is going to come on and run those sessions, so that focus will be on the personal development side. This is something that is different from what we've done in the past, where in the past we would just sort of come together and talk about what people were learning and questions they had, which was helpful, but we really feel the gap was that personal development piece. So we are bringing that back in. We are still going to create opportunities for you to come and hear guest speakers, but they wouldn't be required. So we've had Family Center speak on their approach to budgeting, which people really liked, and we've had Vivian Carter and Myra Virgil come in to speak from a donor perspective on what they're looking at in grant applications or donor engagement, for example. Those were always the popular ones. So we will look to schedule those, but they won't be in those core 90-minute sessions. So the format is a combination of in-person and virtual. Covered the curriculum on the left for UWM. On the right, you'll see EAP's curriculum. So that's more of those personal development modules, looking at career goals, leadership style, self-awareness, emotional intelligence, managing emotions, boundaries, managing conflict, work-life balance, recognizing stress, managing stress. Probably topics that we've all heard a lot about, especially from COVID. But ones that always require attention and ongoing effort. So we were excited to have that focus with EAP and with Letitia. The time commitment, which is always important to consider. An estimate is the full program takes total approximately 7 hours per month. Now, it obviously depends on how you work as a learner, how you absorb information, the extent to which you want to absorb everything possible that you come across, or whether you want to sort of get through it more quickly and pass a test. You know, there are different approaches to getting through it, and how you choose to approach it would dictate how long it's going to take you. But on average, it does require a good 7 hours per month between April and December. There's an online application. It's not very intensive. We will follow up this session with the information packet that includes the application link, and that's due Friday, February 16th. The cost for us to run this program is about, I think, $1,200. It's subsidized 75% by the Bermuda Foundation. So the fee is $340. If you are currently employed by a registered charity, there's pre-approval from Cummings Zoll Foundation to also cover your participant fee. So it's potentially free if you work for a nonprofit. Now, what we will say is, we are adding a requirement this year for sign off from your executive director, or if you are an executive director, your board chair, that if you do not complete the program, the full cost of the program has to be reimbursed, because we've been seeing people register and then not complete the program, and it really takes an opportunity away from somebody else to complete the program. So we want to make sure that people think very seriously about whether they enroll in the first place. We do think it's manageable, but you've got to budget your time and make the commitment. But it's obviously highly accessible from a finance perspective, but we want people to be aware that, and it's in the paperwork what that amount is, but I think Pam, do you remember, is it 1,200? Yeah, so that is the reimbursed amount that you'll be required to pay. We'll be asking for sign off from some form of a superior, just to make sure we don't have to deal with those issues. Of course, no one on this call would be in that boat, I'm sure. So that's the introductory level. Again, it really is targeting not necessarily entry level, but people earlier on in their nonprofit careers. If you have been in the nonprofit sector for a little while, or even if you are sort of a new executive director, we do think the CMP might be more relevant for you. It's a more intensive program, targeting emerging nonprofit leaders with management level responsibilities, and a minimum of 3 years of nonprofit experience. Although if you are an executive director that's been in a role for less than 3 years, we would have a conversation about which program would be more relevant, because we still think this one could be the more relevant one if you're at that highest level role. It's with the Nonprofit Leadership Alliance, which is also a US organization that does the nonprofit credentialing in the States. And then the local partner is Center, which is the EAP arm of Solstice, if you are familiar with Solstice. Jennifer Card is the individual, Dr. Jennifer Card. It's a credentialing program preparing nonprofit professionals for management and leadership roles. It combines multimedia virtual learning strategies, real world exercises, self-reflection, homework, applied projects, all geared at leadership skills, but also a big emphasis on applying the knowledge learned. So in the level one, you do the learning, you do the quizzes, and you're done. With this one, there's that additional homework piece that adds to the workload of it. But really important for starting to think about things at a leadership level. We also take 10 people per year. The eligibility for the CMP, we're targeting emerging leaders, so individuals with 3 to 5 years of experience. Obviously, if you've been in the sector longer, we wouldn't be turning you away. We're trying to differentiate it from that more entry level. We're targeting individuals with management level responsibilities. So if you're not at that level, the intro might be more appropriate. And ideally completion of our level one or some sort of comparable qualification or experience in the sector. The completion requirements for the CMP credential, because it is an actual credentialing program. So it's completion of 6 virtual courses. They are also online, self-paced, so you can log in and do it when you want. But with those courses, there is an applied project, and there is a test that you do at the end of each module. And then we have our 4 cohort sessions. Those are the in-person sessions at the Health Council, led by Jennifer Card with Center. The other piece, in order to get the credential from NLA, because it's NLA, the Nonprofit Leadership Alliance, that actually designates the credential. We don't designate the credential. You have to demonstrate 300 hours of nonprofit work. That would be easy for everyone doing the program, because you have to be a nonprofit employee to join. You also have to demonstrate 20 volunteer hours in the past 2 years. We have talked with them about this. It can't be doing something outside of your job description with your current organization. It has to be volunteering outside of your organization. It can be as a part of a collaborative because that's not your day-to-day job responsibilities. So this one can be the challenging piece to think about when you're already working in a nonprofit, but it is part of the credential program to, so if you're on another board, or if you're on a PTA, or if you're involved in collaborative work, that counts as your 20 hours in the 2-year period of getting the credential. And then the final piece is attending some form of a leadership conference, but NLA have one that you would be automatically enrolled in and not charged for. And that's a 3-day leadership conference. But if there's another conference that you attend, that would likely meet that criteria as well. So the completion of the 6 virtual courses, those topics are management and leadership in the sector, designing programs for long-term sustainability, budgeting and financial management, marketing and comms, fundraising, resource development, and trends and innovations. You'll see that there are some overlaps in the topics, but these do go much more in depth. So it's a nice continuum from the level 1. And then the 4 personal development sessions with Center continues the discussion on emotional intelligence, talks about stress and composure, communication, and a high performance cultures. But it's much more of it's teaching from the perspective of leadership versus just thinking about your own personal development. So there is a big difference in the theme of those sessions. The time commitment for the level 2, this program runs September through February, and the applications will be due in April. The course fee, same sort of situation, it's $350, but the same, the same thing will apply in terms of the full cost of the program if you don't complete that being charged. There is the same agreement with Cummings Zool for this one as well, the scholarship fund, whereas if there's pre-approval for that fee to be paid. And then the last thing is we wanted to mention the other certificate programs, which we think are also a part of leadership development. And if you have teams that work under you or with you, think about who might benefit from doing these more specific certificate programs. The CMP and the Introduction to Nonprofit Management cover the wide range of topics. If you're needing, or somebody on your team is needing, a deep dive in either program design, nonprofit financial management, and fundraising, these are more intensive multi-day certificates in each of those areas. The certificate in nonprofit financial management, it's not trying to teach you to do the accounting, but it's trying to teach you how to understand financial statements, understand budgeting, what you should be thinking about as a leader in working with your treasurer and your bookkeeper or accountant. It's also interactive. You're doing, it's just 4 days, but there's, you're in spreadsheets and you're manipulating numbers. And then the certificate of fundraising, actually, we're working with Villanova for the first time. So that is kicking off this month for 2024. So assuming that goes well, we'll run that again in 2025. Currently, it's Monday evenings, February through April. Those 2 are about $175 per person. Those are subsidized rates. And that is all the information for you.